pro quo.
If we had
Thanks,
a
Donald.
draft board of the available picks, I would tell you what I wanted, but I can't just tell you what I want because then what if it's something no one has thought of?
Got it. Okay, so we are going to establish though that if somebody if you want a pick that someone has already made, you can trade for it, conceivably giving up one of your later picks. So you could end up with 4 picks.
If there are 2 consenting adults, yes.
Yep, exactly
Yeah,
right.
I mean, they wouldn't be non-consenting. We're not going to force someone into this.
Well, I don't know. You communally got the first pick, so
I don't even know
Twice.
how we would force someone into this. I got it twice, yeah. At a certain point, the universe really wants me to make my first pick.
I like us turning into like a game, like a goofy game show where there's like someone like lays down a hammer and it's like, you lost your pick.
I mean, what is it? Not part of the interruption. Around the Horn, with Around the Horn going away, I feel like there's I know, big rip. There's a market inefficiency there that's waiting to be filled by dumbass white boys.
Which is most of that show anyways. There's some non-whites, but mostly not.
True.
Mostly not, unfortunately.
Oh my God. You almost made me throw up on camera for the second time in this podcast history. Oh, that was physically painful.
Non-whites. All right. That's a good start.
That's a good start. That's a good start. You guys want to get into it, or do you want to figure out where Modai stands on race relations in 2025?
Well, no, I'm just pointing out the lack of racial
equality. I know. It's honestly, it's my fault for phrasing it the way I phrase it. I meant Tony, really, the host of Around the Horn. But yeah. Okay. Jesus. All right. Hopefully that doesn't do some damage. All right, List Night is back. Griffin Queen, as always, joined by Matt Modai, Thomas Albert, Andrew Simon. We are doing a draft episode. So we lovingly, maybe only I lovingly, call these draft day episodes because List Night, draft day, it's clever, maybe not so clever. We're doing fictional teams this week. If you've ever participated in a draft, watched a draft, know anything about a snake draft, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then whoever has the 4th pick has the first pick of the second round, and it goes back and it snakes until all of us have 5 picks. I don't know if I will leave in the recording at the beginning of this recording that I said that we can trade picks. You can trade your picks after you have already made them. Modai really wants me to specify that is between 2 consenting adults. I'm not necessarily sure why, but I do want to get it out there that if you are trading a pick, you are both an adult and you are consenting. Before we get into it, any questions? I'll give the order after any questions.
Lots of questions, but let's just get started.
No pressing questions. You'd rather just get after it.
Don't understand the trading picks, but I don't want to. I just want to go, and we'll figure it out as we go.
Wait, did you say the topic and I missed it, or did you not?
I said it really quickly. We're doing fictional teams, and our order this week, I'm going to be the first pick. Thomas is the second pick. Andrew, I have him in my notes as Andre. Andrew is the 3rd pick, and then Modai is the 4th pick, which of course means that Modai will be the first pick of the second round, and so on and so forth. Do you want us to clarify the pick trading? No. It might not even come up. It's probably not going to come up.
It's not going to come up.
I kind of hope it comes up.
It's not going to come up with me because I'm non-consenting. So trade amongst each other, but I will not be
spend all night trying to trade with Andrew.
Consent can be something that is either granted or taken away.
No, just make your pick.
Within the act, however.
I will say when it comes to trading, like in fantasy sports, I almost never trade. And like the team that I drafted, I roll with the whole season. And sometimes they all get injured and I just end up in last place. And sometimes they do well and I end up in first place. But like I'll get offered trades, and I just don't respond all the time, especially usually from Jack. But all the time I get trade offers and I just don't say anything.
Trade offers of players, I will almost always say no to. Because I'm just like, I don't watch this enough to know if this is good or not. Like, if someone's trading me, I assume it's because they're trying to take advantage of me. However, if it's a league that has either keepers or has like a pre-established draft position every year, I will happily trade players for future picks, even if I have a good team. I am an NBA GM. I believe that picks are more valuable than players, and it never works out for me. I never win my leagues. I'm like a 2nd to 4th place finish all the time.
Well, it sounds like you're just getting taken advantage of by people taking your good players for draft picks.
I just love draft picks. I love the potential. Would you rather have Bradley Beal or a player that could turn into, Bradley Beal?
Could be anything.
In that case,
could be a boat.
Could be a boat. Could be Bradley Beal.
I will give you the pick of our next Redbox rental if I can have your first pick.
That's going to be a no from me because, again, I think we've talked about this before. I think Redbox is out of business. I think they've gone bankrupt.
Definitely not.
No? All right. Well, I'm not going to look it up to find out. I think we should get into it. Like I said, I'm going to have the first pick, and we are doing fictional teams. And with my first pick of the fictional team 2025 draft, because I think we're going to do a few of these, I'm going to take the Fellowship of the Ring.
My list.
And so there's a few things that I want to get out. I want to get out on a couple things ahead of time. There's a really, really obvious flaw that a lot of people are going to point out with this list. It's Boromir. How could it not be Boromir? Not only is he only there for one film/book, but at one point he betrays them a little bit. The thing with Boromir is, at any other time in the history of Middle-earth, Boromir is like the greatest man alive. It's just deeply, deeply unfortunate that he is the 1B to an Aragorn who is literally the greatest man alive and potentially the greatest man of all time. It's like, you're Hakeem or something like that, and people think you're fucking great, but Michael Jordan exists. So, like, as great as you are, Michael Jordan's right there. Boromir's the Hakeem. And then outside of that, last thing I'll say on this before you guys give me your feedback, Fellowship is not just one team of 9. It's also a team of Frodo and Sam. It's a team of Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. It's a team of Merry and Pippin. It's a team of Gandalf and various hobbits. Like, there's a lot of permutations of this team. There's a lot of subgroups within this team that really allow them to be lean and mean and be like the number one fighting machine of the Fellowship. My number one pick.
Yeah, that's a good pick. It's number 3 on my big board, so I don't really have any issues with it. I don't know the extended Lord of the Rings universe to argue your Boromir point, whether he's the second greatest man alive or not. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that was wrong and make that reason why this was actually a bad pick. But yeah, it was on my list. It was good stuff. And the only bad pick part I have is I don't know enough about Boromir to argue with you, so I'm just going to assume that you're wrong.
In true list night fashion, yeah, good pick. Not what didn't cross my mind. Great pick. I don't think Boromir is going to drag it down because he redeems himself. So unnecessary rant is what I'll say. Just kind of braggadocious that you know so much about Lord of the Rings.
Solid number 1. This episode. My name's Griffin. No, I'm actually going to talk a lot more. I love to listen to the sound of my own voice. Yeah, no, it's a good fucking pick, and that's the worst part is that it really sucks. It is a good pick. I told you guys I wrote down like 20 teams for this list, and I bolded about 4 of them as first round picks, and this was one of the 4 that I bolded. If I had the first overall, this probably wouldn't have been my number 1, but it might have been 2 or 3. So it's a stack team, diverse stack team. I like it.
My biggest issue is I'm ashamed it wasn't on my list, and it's because I think I kind of fell into a rhythm of picking my list or my teams. Didn't make it.
So is your biggest issue with me or your biggest issue with yourself?
Myself.
All right.
Yeah.
This is actually, I don't even know why I asked that question. I knew the answer to it. All right. I'll take it. I'll take a good, a great, and then this would have been a first round pick no matter what. I'll take those answers.
All right, then my number 1 pick, which is the number 2 pick, is a smaller team, but a very similar vibe. And that is the Patty's Pub Flip Cup team for Philadelphia. It's what I want to be on, and I'll tell you the one main reason, not just because they're a good time, they find a way to win. Even if they're not winning the game, they find a way to win. That's my pick.
Obvious weak link. If we're going to talk about weak links, I mean, you're not winning a flip cup match with D. Reynolds unless the goal is to poison everybody and also her. So sure.
Every team needs a bench. Every team needs a bench.
It's true.
This would, if the topic was fictional teams that I want to be a part of, I think I would be on this. But just fictional teams, they don't really win because
do they not? They feel successful by the end of it.
Yeah,
they feel like winners.
True. Not the first time.
They don't lose.
They don't lose.
We don't see them lose the first time, though, so we don't really know the context of what occurred. And you could argue that in that first loss, the one that happened when they were, 10 years prior, they lost the battle. They won the war because they poisoned those guys. So I love a Sunny pick. I always love a Sunny pick. I didn't even consider this, and I certainly wouldn't have considered the Philadelphia team if I was going to consider a Sunny team. That said, I kind of love how long-term diabolical this pick is because, you're not going to win. I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to win a Flip Cup contest. But if you're picking a fictional team that is going to kill their opponents, then there's a lot of value here.
Are they winning the trophy? No. Do they feel like winners? Yes. And yeah, are they going to win in a fight against the Fellowship? No. Are they going to win in other things against other teams on these lists? No.
Can I counter just like the smallest part of your point?
Yeah, what's that?
Are they going to win the trophy? No. Do they feel like winners? Yes. If you win the trophy, though, you also feel like a winner. Like actual winners feel like winners, unless they've been poisoned, which again is the value of this pick in my mind.
I agree. It's a good pick. Thank you.
Thomas, I wanted you to keep talking because you kept digging yourself more of a hole. You're like, are they going to beat the Fellowship? No. Are they as fun as these other teams? No. Are they good at anything? No.
This isn't fictional teams that will win everything. This is just fictional teams.
Yeah, you like the team. I get it.
That's true.
Yeah.
I respect it. However, with my number one pick, I cannot believe that it fell to number 3, the Toon Squad. I don't even like, I don't know what to say. I thought it was going to be the number 1 overall pick. And when Griffin did pick it, I thought for sure Thomas would pick it. But when I think fictional teams, this is like the first one that comes to mind.
I get that. And I think that's why I thought about them earlier and I didn't put them on there because I was like, before I saw our pick order, I was like, this is going to be other people's picks. And I want to be different and I want to be better. And that's why I did what I did. Now, is it weird that Danny Vito is on my team while is the enemy of your team? It's a little weird.
No, I'm glad that Thomas didn't take this with his pick because I didn't want him to put himself into a box. And honestly, I had assumed that he was not going to make this pick because he did not want to be in that very specific box. 2 Toon Squad picks in 1 calendar month. That's not great. So I'm glad it went in a different direction. I mean, yeah, look, what is there to say about the Toon Squad that hasn't been said before? They're like arguably the greatest fictional basketball team. So there's a lot of value there, but yeah.
Is this Jordan or LeBron Toon Squad?
Why are we asking? We asked this last time. We know
this
Jordan.
is the Jordan Toon Squad. And I think if this was 2020 list night or 2021 list night, you guys would be hype. We just talked about the Toon Squad too much, which goes to show how great of a team they are.
I would argue people our age have talked about Space Jam too much. Like it went from being like good as kids to being ironically good as teenagers and young adults to now it's kind of like how I feel about Shrek. I am just weary of it all.
Number 2 on
I
my
think
big
that's
board.
due to podcasts like ours.
Yeah.
On your big board?
Yep, numbers 2.
Okay, well, so there you go. The only person that you took that pick from was the only person behind you in the pick order, which is why I'm glad that I said trading picks and you guys said no to it.
Although your number 1 on your big board was not taken yet, right, Modai? So I assume that's your number 1 now.
That's correct. I'm going to say that one for last.
He does have back-to-back picks.
No, I'm just kidding. This is number 1 on my big board. I don't think anybody was going to take it, but I also, I made my own draft board, not thinking what you guys would do. It's Mystery Incorporated. You get the best crime-solving team in the history of the universe. Never met a mystery that they didn't solve. I'm a big Scooby-Doo guy, was a big Scooby-Doo guy growing up. Whenever we would go on a road trip as kids, the first movie that I forced me and my sister forced her to watch, I enjoyed it, was the first live-action Scooby-Doo movie. Absolutely love it. Crazy cast looking back on that as well. I'm currently wearing Scooby-Doo socks that my wife got me for my birthday because she knows I like socks and she knows I like Scooby-Doo. So yeah, I mean, the best crime-solving mystery team in the history of the universe.
I gotta say, phenomenal pick. I'm upset. Like, I'm surprised I didn't think of them. Definitely not as big a fan as you are. I don't have socks, but phenomenal pick. It is a great team. They solve a lot of mysteries and live-action movies. Oh, great.
Yeah, look, I've got no beef with this pick. It's a really, really good pick. Maybe one of the most iconic teams across generations, across decades, particularly in the animated world. Although, yeah, the live action films, good pull there, Thomas. 2 really, really good live action movies with great cast that are probably a lot better than they really should have been. I don't know what the dialogue was around those movies when they came out, because I think that was a little bit before we were really on the internet to that extent. But I imagine people thought they were going to be really, really stupid, and they were really, really great. Really good pick. You know, I love a team that incorporates a dog. You get a lot of extra points if you incorporate really any kind of furry animal into your roster, but a dog is going to be number 1, particularly if that dog can, in fact, speak some version of broken English.
Yeah, I hate to have 3 thumbs up, but you get 3 thumbs up, Modai. It's a great pick. It was on my list. Maybe picked in the second round if it wasn't picked here. So very good. Who's your favorite member of the gang? Nice.
Does anyone say anything else? I feel like it's unless you're like really. I'm not going to call out any of our friends that are really into animated characters, but unless you're really into animated characters, like the answer is always Shaggy.
You talking about Elliot?
I'm not, although you did just say someone's name. I wasn't talking about Elliot.
I know he listens to it. I know that he'd appreciate being shouted out, so I'm okay with saying that.
I was talking about Matthew Ferentinos.
I feel like Elliot is probably a Fred fan. He's probably the dungeon master of the group.
That's
He'd
true.
be the responsible one.
Yeah.
Or knowing Elliot, he's probably like, oh, I like the guy who was running the amusement park who ended up being the villain because he only had to be there for 20 minutes. Elliot, I love
I
you.
will making fun of the one person who listens to these all the way through.
In a lot of ways, that's love.
He would be Shaggy. I feel like you got a Shaggy look. You just need longer hair. And maybe it's just because you're a white guy, but
And more drug use. Definitely more drug use.
Well, that's an action, not a look.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's
part
a
of a
little
look.
bit of both.
Yeah.
Good first
All
round.
right, yeah. Good first round. I like all the Philadelphia was dicey, but largely good first round. Let's keep it moving. Modai, your number 2 pick.
All right. I hope that I can keep it going. Team Avatar. They stopped the Fire Lord. They saved the world. They were the collection of talent. I'm not going to pretend is amazing. But greater than the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. You get 2 furry animals. You get Appa. You get Momo. I have a Funko of them somewhere around here that I can't find. But yeah, this is obviously the Last Airbender, not Korra. I don't really not a fan of Legend of Korra. Not a fan of Korra the character, but Aang, Last Airbender. My second pick, number 4 on my big board.
Yeah, great pick. I actually kind of regret saying what I said about the furry animals thing. I don't think this changed your order, but part of the reason I said that was because I was going to circle back to it later when I picked Team Avatar. There's a really high value pick. It's a really high value pick. You got it in a good spot. Honestly, could have been a first round pick. Like you said, 2 furry animals, really, really strong team, really positive character development and team development as time goes on. They're definitely a stronger team at the end than they are at the beginning. A lot of championship teams, they fade as time goes on. They get tired of each other. They go in different directions. This is a championship team that kept getting better and better. This is a great one. This is a really, really good way to start the second round.
And before you guys go, a lot of people have made the comparison, them adding Zuko in the 3rd season was like the Warriors adding Kevin Durant, like adding that level of talent to an already championship team.
It's a super team that added the second best player in the league. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, I absolute phenomenal pick. It's a great team. I like Legend of Korra, but that team still doesn't hold a candle. Like it's fair. It's an amazing show, but it's a great team.
Great furry animal though. Great furry animal in both shows. And the new Avatar show, I hope that continues to be the case. There has to be a good furry companion.
Yeah, I found Aang, by the way. He's at the bottom left.
Hell yeah, brother.
Anybody's curious.
Nice. All right, I have nothing to add, so I'm going to move on to my pick. Glad I could jump in there.
Yeah.
My second pick, I'm gonna go with the AFC Richmond squad from Ted Lasso.
That's a good one.
That was my next pick, man.
Yeah, and it's a timely pick because it was just announced that they're coming back for season 4. I don't know who of the original team will be a part of this show, but they're bringing it back for money. But especially in season 1, the show's just a fantastic show and just really fun characters with great character arcs. Roy Kent, Jamie Tart, eventually Danny Rojas. It's a fun team. So yeah, that's my number 2.
Yeah, great pick. Aaron gave me the idea for this one because I hadn't thought of it, and I had just written it down as my next pick. So I'm pretty mad at you, but no, it's a team that not only like do you want to be on, but you want to cheer for. Good pick. I'm pissed.
Didn't make my list. Really, really good pick. If I had thought of it, it would have absolutely been on there.
So this one is one that I thought of. I think it's a good pick. I thought about it, and I had a lot of reservations about it. Obviously they are a team that gets better. They're a team just filled to the brim with eclectic personalities and characters that you want to root for, and there's a lot of heart and soul behind these guys. But in terms of raw talent, you've got a couple guys that are really, really talented. Jamie Tart obviously being the number 1. But we see them lose a lot. We're very aware that they lose a lot. So they're a really lovable team and you love rooting for them. But are they a championship team? And I know that's not the prompt. It's not the prompt. Well, I'm just saying as a consideration, like
your consideration.
Yeah.
Have you watched the 3rd season?
I've seen it. Yeah.
Well, they literally won the champion. They win.
They win the championship to go back to the Champions League, though, right?
They win the Premier League at the end of last season.
Do they?
Yeah. I mean, soccer is done where you
win the actual Premier League?
finishing first means you win the league. Like they don't have a championship with that specific league. They
I
have a
thought they
Champions
finished
League.
first in the second tier division, though.
That was at the end of the second season. They moved up to go to the Premier League, and then in
I
the
clearly
third
don't
season,
remember it. Season 3 was uneven, we'll say.
Regardless, let me respond to this by saying I can confidently say that in general, an underdog team is more fun to root for, and I think most people would agree with that. I know this firsthand because I know how people feel about the Kansas City Chiefs nowadays.
Like, you guys used to be so lovable, though. That one, you were great.
Exactly. So yes, I get the value in like a super team as like a objectively stacked pick, but when I think of like just general fictional teams, wanting to root for them is a big component of it, and that underdog mentality is a piece of it.
So one of my collectibles, some Ted Lasso things at the store that I bought. Can you guys see that?
Do you have it? It's very blurry, but we can see it. I mean, it'll be clear on the recording.
I'm with Andrew on this one. Like championships teams, not necessarily my
Cup of tea.
No, not actually what I considered for my picks. I get what you're saying, Griffin. I think you're wrong, and my list will be better, but time will tell.
Sure. Also, how much of it is the coach effect? You know, coaches, is it one really brief magical run, or does this team have staying power? Again, not necessary to find out. Yeah, I don't love that season 4 is happening, but not necessary that we know this, but things that I'm thinking about.
With the 7th pick of the draft, I'm also going to dive into the sports field, and it is the Washington Sentinels from the Replacements.
From the Replacements,
yes. Yeah. Speaking of an underdog team that you just want to root for, speaking of a good time that you want to go to jail with because all they do is dance. Love this movie. It's a fun team. It's a fun movie. And they win. So Griffin, they make the playoffs.
Well, I do have another criticism of this team. Not a very pro-labor team, because it was made up of scabs who were crossing the picket line in order to play for that team in a movie based around the actual strike. They're based around the Redskins from the strike season where they won the Super Bowl, correct?
Yeah, that was going to be my only pushback is how do you feel about them being loosely based on the Redskins, Thomas?
It's a fictional team.
No, I think they're almost like, don't they play the Cowboys?
Keanu Reeves did not play for the Redskins. So
That's true. They'd be a much more likable team. Like, it's a good pick. It is a good pick.
I don't care if they represent the Redskins. I mean, it's whatever. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I'm more concerned with the fact that the movie is like, fuck these millionaire players. They're really taking one over on the billionaire owners. But yeah, no, good. It's good. It's good. It's a good movie. It's a great movie. It's a great team.
Let me know when you get off your soapbox, and then we can talk about our picks. All right?
That was my whole soapbox. That was my only pushback. I love that movie.
Yeah,
this is half your Fellowship of the Ring is royalty. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, by the grace of God, okay? Billionaires are not in their power by the grace of God, Thomas. This is a God podcast.
Which one? Depends which one.
That's true. That's fair. They would argue otherwise.
You're going to be hard-pressed to find me like arguing against Keanu Reeves in any capacity. So good pick. It's a good pick. It was on my list. I probably would have picked it eventually if it wasn't picked. So well done.
Never seen the movie. I don't have anything to add.
You've never seen The Replacements?
I don't know how. It's just it's a miss. I don't know how.
It's a good one. It's a movie. If it's on TV, I'll watch at least 5 minutes of it. Like it's a good one.
There's a couple scenes that stick out that seem like they're always the ones that are on TV when you turn to it. It's an all-time remote. I would strongly recommend watching it.
Well, Kate's out of town on a work trip for the next week, so maybe I'll throw it on.
You could do The Replacements and then Hardball so that you have really high highs and really low lows.
Well, Hardball I've seen and is a phenomenal movie.
Yeah. Honestly, people talk about Keanu Reeves being they talked about him being a bad actor for a really long time. He's got a couple bangers, even in the early career, where I don't think he's doing a bad job. I mean, I don't think a ton is really asked of him, but I think he's doing a good job with what he's working with. He's a great sports movie protagonist. All right.
Griffin.
For the 8th pick and the last pick of the second round, I am very surprised because I have 4 first-round options and I have 3 of them left. So I'm going to get 2 of them. With my second pick, I'm going to take the Springfield Nuclear Plant softball team from The Simpsons. This team's kind of got everything. It's got Obviously there's a lot of roster upheaval. Players move on and off of it. We're talking about the most all-star version of this team, and we're talking about them when they were all healthy and their brains weren't enlarged and they weren't addicted to painkillers and anything else that was going on in that episode, which is an absolutely incredible episode. And they've also got Homer Simpson with his magical shocked by thunder or lightning bat. It's an all-star team. Like, this is literally a who's who of the MLB at that time when the episode came out, and they were just punking everybody. There's not a better beer league softball team that has ever existed, nor will there ever be.
Yeah, it's a fun. I mean, this is a good pick. When we chose this topic and I started to list them, the top of my list, number one, is the Springfield Nuclear Plant softball team, and then eventually I found ones I liked more, but it was the first one that came to mind, and damn, good pick.
Yeah, it's far down my list, so I probably never would have picked it, but it was one I thought of pretty quickly, and yeah, it's a it's a fun episode, like you said. So it's your
What
next pick will
season
probably
was it?
suck though.
Because I feel like I just rewatched it relatively recently.
7?
Yeah,
That sounds right.
It would have been early to mid 90s because it's like Daryl Strawberry and guys like that.
Yeah.
Jose Canseco. Yeah. It's guys that were pretty much done by the end of the 90s.
Well, I know it's part of one of the 5 seasons that I watch repeatedly. So
yeah. What is that? 3 through like 9?
Yeah, 3 through 8 or something like that.
Yeah,
9, yeah.
It's the GOAT era. Like anything up to like 11, I think is perfection. And then once they hit episode 300, kind of went downhill.
Never seen that episode. I'm just a loser for 2 straight picks.
We're going to put together like a Dropbox of things that we want you to watch. I'm going to download these things for you and make you watch them.
My favorite part about list night is when one of us doesn't know like the pick, and instead of the other of us like catching up on the cues, we just like wait for the person to like say something. Who's like, what are your thoughts?
You just have to embarrass
big
yourself.
Teacher calling on somebody energy when they don't like they were sleeping in class. Like they don't know what is even being talked about. And they're just like eyes wide, not breathing. They don't know what to do.
Pretty much.
Okay. All right. Well, this next one, I think you're probably going to know. For the first pick of the 3rd round and the 9th pick, I am picking the Justice League. And most specifically, if I'm going to specify it, I'm going to pick Justice League from the Justice League Unlimited cartoon that was on Cartoon Network circa early 2000s, which gives me Superman, it gives me Batman, it gives me Wonder Woman, it gives me John Stewart, Green Lantern, it gives me Martian Manhunter, it gives me Hawkgirl, and it gives me Wally West Flash, in addition to like 60 or 70 other heroes that become more and more part of the roster as time goes on. But like that big 7 is just stacked to the brim. Like it's an all-timer big 7, obviously, because it was, one of the like flagship programs for DC animated at the time. But they put together just like a incredible roster. And that show is such a big part of why I love superheroes so much. It's, in my opinion, the best superhero show there's ever been.
It is. Yeah, it is. This was on my list, and I kind of veered away from it just thematically. But I had thought about, like, do I do Justice League or Justice League Unlimited? Because Unlimited it's an unlimited roster. It's fucking huge. 2 phenomenal shows, really 1 phenomenal show, changed the name, whatnot. Yeah, but it's a great pick, obviously. I mean, the Justice League is an iconic team in the comic world and out, I guess. But yeah, I really hate how good everyone's picks are being.
Yeah, I'm gonna like split hairs to find something wrong with the pick. I mean, like, it's super stacked. Is it too stacked? Is it too stacked? Or did you just draft the Monstars? I mean, come on.
Why do you keep
picking
too much
traders
on it?
Too much talent. I want someone with less talent. I want, you know what? Tom says Philadelphia team was better pick.
Philadelphia.
I mean, if I wanted a team with less talent, I could just draft the List Night crew. But that's going to create. I mean, it's like we're not fictional, I guess, but we make things up sometimes. So there's
semi-fictionalized versions of our real life selves.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, don't bring people in on kayfabe too much.
Cool. All right. Thomas.
I'll be honest, as this goes on, I'm feeling more and more confident that I have too many options left because people aren't picking them. And now I can't decide.
I'm feeling more and more confident that Modai didn't watch TV as a child.
Yeah.
And we have so many things that we need to do to make up for that time that he clearly was in a coma for.
At least know what the Justice League is. I mean, I know what you're referring to in all those characters, at least.
We were so close with being able to skate by that without Griffin bringing it up. We were like, cool, all right, moving on.
I saw the deer in the headlights looking. I was like, what am I going to do? Not hit him with the car? Come on.
I'm gonna do this, and I don't think anyone else is gonna pick him, but we're gonna do the Sudbury Blueberry Bulldogs, which is the hockey team from the show Shoresy. Which is okay. Modai, just assume you haven't watched.
Yeah, I'll take a nap. You guys let me know.
I'm with you, Modai. Let's let them go.
No, I don't think anyone would have picked them, but I have to put them on there because I fucking love that show. And the team is awesome, and they win. But yeah, the Sudbury Blueberry Bulldogs.
Do they win?
Yeah.
They're on season 6? I'm very far behind.
4.
Okay, yeah, I finished season 1, so I've got a lot of catching up to do. It's a great team. It's a great team, great characters, a lot of character, I would say, even not necessarily just like great characters. Everyone's got an enormous amount of character. Yeah, I mean, like a minor league developmental hockey team in Canada is not the direction
it's the no-show
I went in, but I fully understand that it's the direction that you went in, and I get that, and I support it.
Who's to say they couldn't beat the Justice League Unlimited?
A lot of people
Who is to say that? Yeah.
Many people are saying.
Well, when you guys watch a show, we can revisit this.
Great soundtrack also. If you're looking for a show with an incredible soundtrack, it might be the best I've ever watched.
And consistently.
I do like a good soundtrack.
Some French Canadian rap. You will hear a lot of it, and it's some really, really, truly great stuff.
I do want that.
Yeah. Great. I didn't know I wanted that until I watched Shoresy, and then I was like, oh, I've found my new favorite genre of music.
I do want that.
I know I want it. I just don't want to just listen to French Canadian rap by itself. I want it to be a part of a soundtrack for a movie. So this is a great pick.
Yeah, and that's fair. I get that.
Yeah.
That's a good pick, Thomas.
Yeah, really good pick.
All right, let's see. My third pick. I'm torn between two, one of which is very stacked and one of which is an underdog. And I'm going to go with the underdog. Let's keep it rolling. I'm going to go with the true underdog story, the Average Joes from Dodgeball.
Good pick.
I've
seen that movie.
There we go. I was gonna say everyone's seen it. I assume so. I won't talk too much about it, but I just think it's a true underdog story. It's in the title.
Yeah, definitely on my list, and I'm not gonna pick them. But the next team underneath them was Global Gym Purple Cobras. And I was like, I don't know which one I would want to pick, because I want to be in shape and good at things, but Average Joe's fine. So, no, I don't know I don't know how well this movie has aged. I haven't watched it recently, but it was definitely hilarious before, so it might still be funny.
I feel like it probably aged pretty well. Yeah, this is a good pick. Another definition of the whole's greater than some of their parts. Individually, not the greatest cast, but together they made magic happen. They beat Globo Gym, the Globe, whatever their name is.
Globo Gym, Purple Cobras. I had to make sure I got the color right.
Yeah, I've never seen this movie.
What?
I don't really know. I don't know
what a loser. Griffin for not saying it.
First off, I take a lot of umbrage with the hatred towards the cast that includes Justin Long, comedy legend.
I think he was talking about the cast, the characters, not the cast.
Not the actors and actresses. Yeah, great cast.
Okay. All right. A lot of Ben Stiller shade being thrown here.
Get it. You've seen it.
I have in fact seen it. I actually watched this. I thought I was with you guys. I watched this very recently. It aged really well. It's aged really, really well. I mean, there's definitely a couple, kind of like Dice Year jokes from like 2006, but like,
yeah, that's
anyone who says you can't make comedy anymore, shut the fuck up. Yes, you can. We don't do it, but people can do it. Yeah, great pick. Great team. I really don't have anything to add on this one. I am a little surprised they took this long to pop up.
This movie also, it probably wasn't the first one, but it was one of the early Vince Vaughn movies that like found the Vince Vaughn formula of like, he's the sort of like the straight man, but also like flawed and, he's fun in so many roles like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just before or after Wedding Crashers?
Before. It's before Wedding
before.
Crashers. Yeah.
All right. I'm struggling because I have like 7 picks that I think would all be really good that I don't think you guys are going to take. One of them would only really be for Griffin. I'll just go with the next team on my board. It's on brand for me. I've already talked about it, but Team Mario. I'll take Mario. I'll take Peach. I'll take Luigi. I'll take Yoshi. I'll take all those guys. Mario came up in a previous episode. I think it was biggest rivalries, Mario versus Bowser. You see a big Mario on Yoshi next to me. And you get a lot of games out of it. You get a lot of fun. You can ride some carts. You can beat the shit out of each other. You can play baseball. You can play soccer. I think there's a football one. I don't actually know that for a fact. You can do a lot of fun stuff. There's tennis. So yeah, I'll just take Team Mario and I'll just take all of them.
Here's my question. Is Team Mario just Nintendo? Because in like Super Strikers Mario Baseball, Team Mario is like there's certain people always on his team. So like,
is that the
are we saying Team
Of course,
Mario?
your clarification is about the specific team in Mario Baseball.
Well, no, because if he's saying Team Mario, like, does that include Bowser? Because Bowser's in the Mario games.
I don't get Bowser. It's like the good guys.
I get the good guys.
Yeah, I get the good guys. Yeah.
You don't have the Goombas. You don't have the other things that are like Goombas.
Thwomp.
I mean,
although sometimes the Koopas are good.
Some Koopas are good. Some Koopas are bad.
Good. Yeah, some Goombas are good too.
Mario's very, very clear that they are a non-racially segregated universe. There are good Koopas and there are bad Koopas.
In Mario Baseball, he has all the flower people on his team and Luigi.
Well, it was big Mario Sunshine days back then.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
I think that was just a little bit of cross promotion.
Yeah, the Nintendo was like, these flower dudes are going to be the next big thing for Nintendo, and they were not.
Unironically, their names might be flower dudes. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's a good pick. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a stacked pick. My only pushback would be, are you stretching the definition of team just a little bit? Because like Mario, I feel like came to be known as sort of like a solo dolo act, and just, you know, through cross promotion and stuff, or like not cross promotion, but through like building the universe, he ended up on teams with these people through like sports games and stuff like that. But is it really like a known, like Team Mario? I don't know that, but that's really my only pushback.
I think it's team like a way a company says we're a family, like the Mario Bros.
Which is
like,
that bad pick then.
See, I was just thinking that Mario is really active in free agency and on the trade market. He sees a high value player. He's picking him up. He sees his brother Luigi out there looking for a job. Hey, Luigi, you're on the team now.
Where does Donkey Kong fall?
He turns
He's
good.
A huge, vital part of the team.
Yeah, but he's originally
first
the
bad,
enemy.
and then he turns good. So
Mario's
part of the team.
Like Mario's like the Mick Fleetwood from Fleetwood Mac, where he's just like, I'll swap out band members like for decades, and whoever wants to join me is part of this band now, and we keep my name.
So yeah.
I was gonna do the 73 win Warriors again. Mario is the Steph Curry of that team, and then Kevin Durant, you know, he loses to Mario, Donkey Kong, and then he joins the team, and then they're a better team because of it.
Yeah, I think he's more of a Boromir, where, you know, he tries to defeat the team, and then he turns around, and if it wasn't for Mario, he'd be the number one man.
And then he gets shot to death at the end
with a bunch of
I
bone
never
arrows.
watched the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's tough look for my guy DK.
I
think like
overall
Mario in a tuxedo T-shirt.
I think this is the biggest stretch of a team since Justice League Unlimited, since it's literally an unlimited team.
But I don't know if that's fair.
I think it's overall good pick.
You're right. Justice League Unlimited was just picking people up off the street, and they were like, "You're on the Justice League now."
That's why they called it Unlimited.
I don't think that's actually true, but sure.
It might have been.
It's a good pick, Mode. I like it a lot as a pick.
Well, I don't want to have to defend my position of what's the definition of a team. So I'm going to go with the pick that only Griffin's going to understand, and I'm okay with that. Give me Team 7 or Team Kakashi in the Naruto universe. By the end of that show, and I'm not talking about Boruto, I'm just talking about the show, you got like the 2 strongest ninjas in the universe, in Naruto and Sasuke. You get the greatest medical ninja in the universe, who overtakes Tsunade in Sakura. And then you get probably the best character of all of them as their teacher, Kakashi. It doesn't get better than Team 7. Only reason why I wasn't sure if I wanted to pick this one is because half the audience isn't going to get it. and I mean half our audience, like Elliot and the other person that listens that doesn't watch anime. But I think it's a good pick, and the people that know will know it's a good pick.
You remember what I said last episode? I think in like the opening preamble, I said "fuck the audience" because fuck the audience. This is a pick for you, and this is a pick for me, and I stand behind that. I wasn't sure based on your attire. I figured you were going to take something from either anime or from the Naruto universe. I didn't know if you were going to take Akatsuki, the villainous team, or if you were going to take one of either Team 7 or Minato's team from back in the day or something like that. Or maybe the 7 Sani or the 3 Sani or whatever.
Yeah. They're on my list.
Yeah, they're another really good option. Team 7, yeah, if you're looking for stack team, if you're looking for number one protagonist, pretty much the either secondary protagonist / main antagonist, you got that. You've got the hot boy Kakashi. You've got Sakura, who, like you said, number one medical ninja, who also can like shatter mountains with her fists, and who everybody wants to, excuse my French, but bang out, despite her gigantic forehead, which is a problem that I have too. There's no drawbacks to this pick. You picked, if we're looking for stacked team and we're looking for, obviously there's times where they're not a great team, but they come out of those times together. Two of them marry each other.
And they come together at the end.
Moda, I like this pick. I'll tell you what I like about it. I like that Team 7 is part of the Naruto universe. I like the team composition of this pick. And when I say that, I mean that the core members are Kakashi, Sasuke.
Sasuke.
It's okay.
You gotta learn how to read Japanese if you're gonna do this.
Sasuke.
I'm not gonna do this.
Sasuke.
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, really good pick. Right. Thank you. Thomas, your thoughts?
Really good Google. Really good Google, Andrew.
Yep, that's what I do.
Thomas with the thumbs up, which is just incredible for the audio listeners at home.
I got nothing.
That's no pushback. That means that you agree with the pick.
And what I heard was great pick,
Is it really a team? I don't know, guys. What are we defining a team as?
Well, of their name is Team 7, so it's the majority of their name.
It's 50% of their name.
There's like 4 members on the team. Why are they Team 7? I just, you know what?
But they're 4 or 5 members.
I don't remember the answer to that. Is it just because they're numbered?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Hey, Modai, I'm on your team for this one. I'm on your Team 7, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be your Sakura, and you can be my Sasuke.
You would say that.
Sasuke.
Modai's going to get up in them guts.
Grindr sponsor yet?
Not yet. Crazily enough, Grindr somehow not a sponsor yet. I don't think they're finding our.
All right,
Andrew.
Oh, it's me. I thought it was Thomas. I lost track.
Yeah, we get
14th pick.
Yeah, okay. 14th pick. I'm gonna go for my next pick. I'm gonna go with the original Elite Four from Pokemon. I know Moto, I love this pick. I think all you guys will. Do they work together as a team? Not really. But when you're playing as Red or as whatever you named your character, it sure feels like they're a team because they're beating up on you and they are relentless. And then when you get to the end of them, there's your fucking rival and he's there too. And he's part of the team sort of as well. But they're just like, they're an iconic bunch. What? Go ahead.
The Elite Four and their 5 members. Really throw you for a loop with that one.
What a team. They're
make the game.
Bunch.
Yeah, look, here's my thing. They're like explicitly not a team. They are 4 individuals who just happen to like exist in the same area. Like, do the people that live in the same block of my town, are they a team of mine? I don't think so.
They do have a collective name, the Elite Four.
This could be argued as a fictional team.
That's their job to be there. They're the 4.
Do they not live? I think they do live. I mean, they absolutely live there.
Everyone in Pokemon Red and Blue lives exactly where they stand. But
they're awake at all hours. They don't sleep.
But what I'm saying is they are placed there because they were an elite trainer. It wasn't like they're just neighbors with these 4 people that happen to be placed above Victory Road.
Do I think they have like team bonding events? No.
I do.
Absolutely not.
But I feel like if we're going to say Team Mario, like they're not a team, but they have a collective name. Like it works.
I would say Lance the team leader, or is he just the best?
Both.
What's the difference?
He's a team leader.
Big Power Ranger energy right there. Big Red Ranger energy right there. That's fair.
Well, Lance is definitely the team leader, but the others don't really listen to him because Agatha is just a crazy old lady and doing like psychic shit, and then Lorelai and Bruno are clearly banging each other at the bottom of the Elite Four.
So you're making this sound like a worse team than you did
Lance
30
is like
seconds ago.
Lance is like the leader, but he's really just he's just playing with his dragons.
He's sitting in the cuck chair with his dragons.
Exactly.
I told you their names.
Watching
I
Bruno
know
and
Lance.
Lorelai.
Lance is the only one I remember.
Brock, gym leaders.
They could never with the Elite Four.
They wish, yeah. They
Giovanni.
wish.
Giovanni.
Giovanni, a little too evil to be in the Elite Four. The Elite Four guys are not
Goth
evil.
girl,
They're,
Sabrina, I remember, right?
Lieutenant Surge.
Sabrina could be in the Elite Four.
Lieutenant Surge, yeah. Really, I'm fine with most of them, with the exception of Brock and Misty being in the Elite Four.
And you're first going to name all the
What about Koga?
Gen 1
I think
boys.
Koga does end up in the Elite Four, doesn't he?
Anytime someone says Blaine,
Koga
I think
does.
of the Key and Peele skit.
Where he's mispronouncing names?
Where he's mispronouncing Blake.
Pretty good
yeah.
pick.
Yeah.
Pretty good
Yeah,
pick. I'll
look,
take that for the fourth round.
If you
It's
pick this
okay
early,
pick.
yeah, more pushback.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
pick.
I'm not gonna
Decent
not
pick.
support a pick in the Pokemon universe. I don't think it's the best pick in the Pokemon universe, but you do get a good collection of trainers. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's objectively not the best pick in the Pokemon universe unless you're just looking for pure firepower. In which case,
Am I farming for fans? Maybe, because most of our views are now due to Pokemon, due to Modai doing shorts on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. So because of that, come on, Pokemon fans, join Team Andrew.
It's a good point.
Team Andrew, not a great Pokemon team.
Team
Not
Andrew
a
not
great
making my
Pokemon
list.
Not a
team.
great team in general.
Team Andrew not making a list. All right, I'll go. Griffin already mentioned this pick, which I went back and forth with a lot. It is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but it is the ones from the movie with Adam and Aisha, because that movie always meant a lot to me. But yeah,
the
Mighty
second
Morphin
one?
Power Rangers. No,
Turbo? The first one.
no. Mighty Morphin originally had Kimmy and Zach, or Kim and Zach, or not Kimmy, Trini and Zach.
Right. Okay.
Black
Yeah.
Power Ranger, and then Adam and Aisha replaced them in the movie, where the opening scene they skydive, and for some reason Tommy has a snowboard, even though they're in California in the sun skydiving, but he's wearing a snowboard, and it makes zero sense, and I love it.
It's the coolest scene that has ever been put to film.
It's the fucking best thing. I might watch it
It's
tonight.
unquestionably. And then they're like rollerblading around town when rollerblading was at its peak.
Yeah, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, great team.
Yeah. You said it for me. You complimented yourself, but it is a good pick, so I'm not going to push back. Also on rollerblading, Griffin, I don't know about in Hermosa, but around here in San Diego, people rollerblade like a lot, and it's wild. It's like when I first came here, I was like, is it the 90s? But yeah, people just rollerblade around here.
No, I don't think it ever necessarily went out in like beach towns. And I know for a fact that it came back in a big way during COVID. Like it had like some huge surge in popularity during COVID because like if you wanted to be outside, it had to be like for like fitness reasons. So you could go rollerblading with your friends and say that was for fitness reasons. But it's huge in Hermosa. Like there's constantly people on the Strand rollerblading. But great pick. This was actually, you took it at the right time. This was in my fourth round if nobody was going to get to it. And it was going to be this team because this movie's iconic and I love it. And they're stacked top to bottom.
Yeah. My pick
They've
was
got a great leader.
And one
What's
other
up?
team, which it was between this and one other team, which I think you might also pick. But just fun fact that you guys talking about rollerblading, I have 5 more picks on my list that involve rollerblading. I don't rollerblade.
Is also on my list.
It might be.
So
Yeah, I probably never will rollerblade again.
are your picks from like, are those picks from like largely from the 90s and 2000s? Or I guess even 80s, because the rollerblading was big in like the 80s too.
Mostly 90s, I would say.
Because I was going to say, we sort of talked about this a long time ago when we talked about rocket power, how like when we were kids, like the extreme sports and like the blading sports, skateboarding, rollerblading, like sports like that were like so popular in media.
Yeah.
X Games.
Power Rangers was on
Power
my
Rangers
list.
is
X
awesome.
Games were huge at that point.
Yeah, I was just saying that
All right.
Power Rangers were on my list.
I'm
They're
next.
big- yeah.
Oh, sorry, Moda. You were going out
It
a
might-
little bit.
I think I might be delayed, but no, it's fine. It's all good. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. My fourth pick? This is
Yeah.
my fourth pick. Hell yeah. I don't know what number that is. I should do the math, but I'm not gonna. This is tough because I've got stuff left in my second round. I've got stuff left in my first round still, but I don't necessarily love them for later on because I know that we're going to do future iterations of this particular episode. And so I want to keep a little bit of first round talent for the future.
This sounds like you. This is how you draft your fantasy team. You never commit. You never go all in this year. You're always saving your picks.
I need picks.
You never commit, Vinegar.
When are you going to go all in, Griffin? Just jump.
I'm gonna take one of my potential second round picks that was actually referenced earlier in relation to somebody else's pick, because this is what we do. We reference each other's picks. That's apparently the only way that we know how to make picks. I'm gonna go in the other direction from the Toon Squad pick, and I'm gonna take the Monstars. Because the best member of the Toon Squad was not a fictional character. The actual human being that exists in the real world was not on the Toon Squad. They would have gotten their shit pushed in by the Monstars, who are all fictional. And don't give me some, well, they have the powers of Charles Barkley and all these other people, because the actual characters were the Monstars. They just took the powers of real people.
I understand what you're saying. The real star of the Toon Squad was a real person, and yes, Bill Murray was a real person. But in the movie, he was playing a semi-fictionalized version of himself. So that's a fictional,
a
superstar.
dramatized version.
And I assume you're also talking about that other guy, MJ or whatever. He also was playing a fictionalized version of himself.
Yeah, Wizards legend Michael Jordan. Yeah.
I also think the Toon Squad, if they hadn't gone and gotten Mike Jordan to begin with, they would have come into their own earlier. Like, they waited till the second half because they were relying on him so much. But if they hadn't been relying on him, they would have come into their own, and I think they would have won.
I'd go so far as to argue that if they had not been relying on him, they literally would have died over the course of a basketball game. That's my argument.
You could also make the argument that the head coach of the Monstars is Jerry Krause. So you don't get him on your team.
Definitely.
Jerry Krause / Danny DeVito / an alien monster thing.
Correct.
Who was fictional, because we don't know that alien monster things exist, and they certainly probably don't have the voice of Danny DeVito, or certainly probably the personality of Jerry Krause.
I also assume they're not coming here for amusement park purposes.
Who's to say? We can assume not, but in an infinite multiverse, really anything is possible.
I'm just confused by this pick because A, you picked the losing team.
B,
they only have their powers from other NBA players. And C, no more than like 15 minutes ago, weren't you talking about how Space Jam is overdone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I was. And I said all of that knowing that I was probably going to make this pick, because I didn't think either of you guys I didn't think any of you were going to come to the Monstars as a potential pick. Again, they lost that game because of the actual real life human competing against them. If you remove the non-fictitious element, which is the time that Michael Jordan went into space / the TV, they win that game. And they had a brief scrimmage that I think was just to one basket, where they dunked so hard that they destroyed the basket entirely, and they won the game. That's a win by forfeit.
That's just a lot of what ifs with you.
We're talking about fictitious teams, so it kind of by definition has to be.
And they lost in the championship, and we all know that losing in the championship is worse than never even making it. So you have to live with that.
They lost the championship, the first game of the season, and the first playoff game. It was all one game, and they lost all three.
They also had, they lost in the championship. That is a good point, Mona, that we make often talking about people that lose in the championship. Unfortunately, this is the only time that I'm going to push back on that argument that I always make, because there were no other teams that could have participated. Like, there was no third or fourth team.
The league was sort of rigged for those two.
It was a shallow talent pool. It was a shallow league. Magic and Bird had not come on the scene yet.
Early on in the league's history, right? They weren't ready to expand.
It was very Harlem Globetrotters, Washington Generals. Just same two teams play each other.
Look at all the titles that the 50s and 60s Celtics won. There's like 8 teams in those leagues. That's not that much better. Yeah. I'd rather play it in a bubble. Okay, my fifth and final pick. I really wanted furry creatures on my list, and I'm going to get them. And I did not think these were going to make it onto your list, so I'm really happy they're still here. I'm going to take the Homeward Bound pets, Shadow, Chance, and Sassy, from one of my favorite movie series as a kid. I went through all of the various different dog movies that I've watched over the years, and I really didn't want to take 8 Below because like half those dogs die.
That's a good
Whereas
team.
It's a losing team. You know, like enough of them cross the finish line, but like also not enough of them cross the finish line. The Homeward Bound team, however, all three of them came home and all three of them were united with their owners. And all three of them had a stronger, better bond at the end of it after their trek across the continental United States, which is just an absurd thing to ask of two dogs and a cat. It's an incredible team, and they don't get enough credit in the the pet movie hierarchy. It's not a sports movie.
Yeah, that's a really, really good pick. I recently on my TikTok, the end of that movie came up, and owner of two dogs got a little misty-eyed. I don't have anything bad to say about this pick. Great team. Like you said, made it across the United States as two dogs and a cat. They can talk to each other, which is pretty impressive. You didn't think that animals could do that. So yeah, that's good stuff.
Cross species.
My only pushback is that, like, do they have a coach? Like, are they really a team, or are they just like a group of three animals?
It's like a bit of a player coach situation in my mind. It's like Bill Russell on those Celtics that I mentioned, where he was coaching and playing, and Shadow in a lot of ways was like the cerebral coach of the team. And as time went on, I think Chance kind of took that role, whereas Sassy, very much the Charlie Day of the group, the Charlie Kelly, the wild card.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have much to add. I haven't seen this movie like since I was a kid, but I remember it being good, and I have no arguments that they were teams. Okay.
Yeah,
you will cry.
They were definitely great movies. I don't think I have any interest in watching them now. I totally get why you picked it, though.
When's the last time you've watched it, Griffin?
Last 5 years. Yeah. It was on like one of those dumb Roku channels that are just constantly playing movies. I missed the first like 10 minutes. So I actually missed them getting lost. But I mean, that's like the saddest part of it. So I got to see the majority of the fun part of the journey.
You saw the Homeward Bound part.
Yeah, I saw them bound. Yeah. No, not bound. That's not the word I want. Whatever. It's fine.
All right.
You're doing so good.
I don't know what to pick.
You okay, buddy? You look stressed.
To be clear, this is your last pick. So like, it doesn't need to be your best pick.
Well, in that case, it's going to be a pick for Griffin. It is the Philadelphia Hebrew Academy Lions.
Is this from the Disney Channel original movie?
Miracle?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Jesus Christ.
Nothing better than a Hanukkah basketball movie, if you ask me.
It's nothing better.
Now, is the coach based off a real person? Yeah. But just like Space Jam, we're allowing that. So
Is he? Greg Popovich? Who's he based off of?
I looked it up earlier. A University of Virginia former basketball player, and I can't remember his name.
I didn't know that. That's a fun fact.
I didn't know that. Told you that either. But I remember enjoying this movie a lot. It's a fun children's basketball movie, and I also just thought it was funny.
I'm sorry, which movie are we talking about?
Full Court Miracle.
Full Court Miracle.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, again, much
probably
like
another
your Charles Darwin pick the other day. Sometimes you make picks that you should just type to us.
I have no obstacles I cannot overcome.
Yeah.
He learned so many obstacles I can't overcome.
This is another movie I probably saw once when I was a kid, so I don't think this made your decom list, did it?
No.
How good the team could they have really been?
Well, they won, I think.
Okay.
So
that's the par.
I am pretty sure they won.
I think they won.
It's no luck of the Irish team.
Here's my bet: they either won or they inspired the audience, even despite their loss. Those are probably the two outcomes that could have happened.
And knowing the way that Judaism works, they inspired the audience to keep their candles lit for some indeterminate number of days, because that's like 7 of our holidays.
A very reasonable amount of days for the amount of wax that was there.
Yeah. Oh wow, you kept fire burning like only at night. It was crazy.
Lamont Carr is the coach who it was based off of.
Sure. Oh, yeah. I know Derek Carr.
Nope,
I don't think they're related.
Nope. Different people.
Not a basketball player.
Let's talk about Derek Carr for a few minutes. No.
All right.
It's true.
Good 18th pick of the draft. Good value.
I disagree.
Good value. I think they beat the Monsters. I think they beat
value. I don't even know if it's good value.
You think a team of Jewish middle schoolers is beating the Monsters?
The Looney Tunes beat them. Yeah. I think Jewish teenagers coached by a former collegiate basketball player beats the Monstars, who are afraid of their manager. They don't even have
when
a
I
coach.
think of the best basketball players around the country, I definitely think of kids that play for Jewish day schools.
Philadelphia.
Sure.
Birds.
Yeah, underrated.
Kobe Bryant.
You're not giving them any respect. Bingo.
Not a member of the tribe, but from Philadelphia.
Inspiration.
Yeah.
Well, my last pick is kind of along those same lines, Thomas, because my fifth pick is The Expendables. A lot of parallels between those two picks. I'll be clear, I don't remember the plot of The Expendables. I don't even remember everyone that was in it. All I remember is that it was stacked.
Pretty bad pick then.
I'm pretty sure it was stacked in terms of action heroes. I think the first one or two were pretty well received. So this is just one of those like crack teams full of just completely stacked individuals and bringing them all together for, a wild action movie adventure. So yeah, they're my last pick.
I liked these movies when they came out. They're not memorable other than that they exist. And I don't think that they're expendable in that sense. They were fun at the time. It was cool to see all these people together, but like the most memorable thing is that they exist.
Yeah, the most memorable thing is like, wow, that movie must have cost a lot to make, both because of the action scenes, but also because of how much they had to pay these action stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cast is like Rocky, whose name I'm blanking on, the actor.
Sylvester
Sylvester
Stallone.
Stallone. Yeah, is this the movie series that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one he's most well known for.
Yeah, yep.
Notable Jews in that cast, if you do want to bring it back to Thomas's pick, Jet Li and Terry Crews.
That's why I said it was just like Thomas's pick. I was talking about the Jewish
But
component.
then isn't Mel Gibson in some of the later ones?
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he really? Is he a bad guy though? I think he's got to be a bad guy. Okay, well,
yeah.
from what I understand, Sly Stallone
again,
not a great
I
guy
don't
either.
super remember, but I'm pretty sure he's a bad guy in one of the movies.
So these movies are like definitely not for the tribe. I like the way that you talked about it, Thomas, where you were like, the only thing more expendable than this pick is this movie, which is like basically every single tagline of every article that came out when they announced these movies, which obviously is what they're playing on. Look, is it a good team? Maybe.
Well, it depends on
Hard
the
to say.
window.
Does Andrew know if it's a good team?
Not a
No,
clue.
he doesn't. Like,
I'll
why
let
wouldn't you
Elliot
say
tell us
like the
whether it's
team
good.
from like The Predator. You're still getting half these guys.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If this team goes up against Fellowship of the Ring, this team is winning guns. But if
Disagree.
If this team is on a basketball court with the Philadelphia Hebrew Academy Lions, they're losing.
I don't think they are.
I think they're old as shit. Most of them.
Yeah, I mean,
And they're too muscly to be able to shoot a basketball.
I don't know, man. I feel like Dolph Lundgren could probably do like anything.
He can barely move.
If they're too muscly to shoot a basketball, then so are the Monstars. And they were great at basketball. Just not as great as the Toon Squad.
They're all glamour muscles.
I think this is a pretty good pick. I feel like this is a good pick for like the third time we do this draft.
Like a 5th round pick the third time we do this. Like you picked this not only drafts early, but like multiple drafts too early.
We were doing fictional action movie teams. Fucking phenomenal.
When I
pick.
made this
You get
pick,
everybody.
Yeah, when I made this pick, I knew I didn't need your guys' validation, and I don't need my validation because I don't know if it's a good pick.
You have no one's validated. You like the Expendables wouldn't pick themselves. They would pick teams they were on when they were younger men.
This was a pick, and that's what I can say about it.
It was
You're going for our really, really small 63 to 79 audience on Spotify. I get it. I'm with it. I understand.
We're gonna own that audience though.
Are there Expendables fans? Like, does anyone have an Expendables like poster in their basement? I can't imagine so, but maybe.
I mean, think of like the type of dude who's in like his mid to late 50s or early 60s and looks forward to his time in his man cave more than anything else. Doesn't want to interact with his wife. Doesn't like his kids. Thinks that college is a place for indoctrination. Like he probably has an Expendables poster just from the first one.
Should I get an Expendables poster?
I think you're almost guaranteed at some point, Thomas, to get an Expendables poster. That's always like the last gasp of like my life is still together.
I was gonna say we'll check in on the four of us in like 20 years and see our Expendables posters on the wall.
New passwords, Expendables 2040.
Yeah, it'll be Expendables posters and then just one big picture of Mel Gibson in the middle because things will have gone really poorly in my life.
God.
All right. Well, on that note,
it's a pick.
It is a pick. All right. I'm struggling with my last one, but I'm just going to go again with next on my board. I'm going to go with Dunder Mifflin Scranton, the paper company. In a world where selling paper doesn't really seem like a success, somehow the Scranton branch is consistently hitting the numbers. They made it a point to mention basically since like season 2 and on that they are consistently hitting the numbers. You got a wide cast of characters, not really anybody that I'd want to grab a beer with except for like maybe Jim, but you still get a wide cast of characters. And I mean, the best theoretical or the best not real paper company that is successful with sales. I'm not really sure what I'm trying to say, but you get my point.
We know what you're trying to say. There's a really, really shallow competition, but we know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. Was this the pick you were debating making earlier, but you didn't want to stretch to the definition of team?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's the main thing here is like this is just an ensemble, but what I was gonna say is if you want to switch your pick to within the Office universe, the team, the basketball team from the first season that Michael puts together to play the warehouse team, then I would be on board. And Thomas, I feel like you have a different in universe.
Were you gonna say softball?
I had
or the volleyball.
Thought.
I mean,
volleyball. Ooh, see, I didn't think about volleyball. I also thought about basketball. I was going to say on the same thought as Andrew. You're going to say the sales team because they do call it a sales team.
Yeah, pick one of the departments, and I'd be on board.
But the basketball crossed my mind. I forgot about the volleyball. The volleyball team was winning for a while
until Pam got hurt. But that was kind of...
you pick one of the beach day teams if you want to go there. I totally get this pick. It would not have crossed my mind. I won't push you back on it. Griffin will because he doesn't like The Office, and that's fine. He's welcome to that opinion. I mean, I'm with Andrew how he started. I think it's a good pick. I don't think I would have gone this way. But yeah, that's fair.
I would argue that the branch of a company can be defined as a team.
Yeah,
we actually already defined on this episode companies that refer to themselves as families and teams. Like, do we like them? No, but they do it. My only pushback is actually not what Thomas said, because you're allowed to like things that I don't like. That's fine. I think less of you for it, but you're allowed. My only pushback was one of the things that you mentioned about having a beer with somebody, and you chose Jim, the guy who's going to wait until you're all liquored up and then go try and bang your wife. That's not the guy I'm having a beer with. I'm having a beer with like so many other people in my office than the dude who bangs his colleagues' wives or fiancés or girlfriends or whatever.
Did it? They weren't colleagues. Roy worked in the warehouse.
I'm not gonna.
Those are colleagues.
No,
they also didn't bang.
Warehouse. It was the warehouse for the whole building.
That's true.
Are they?
They're not part of Dunder
Mifflin.
I don't know the difference.
Again, I didn't watch the show outside the first season. Is the warehouse not for Dunder Mifflin?
Well, it's kind of hard. Sometimes it's not, and sometimes it is.
There's Dunder Mifflin employees that work at the warehouse, but it's like for the it's for like the whole, because the refrigerator company also uses the warehouse. It's like it's like a combined warehouse.
My argument hinges on them working together, so I'm gonna say Roy and other one whose name I've already forgotten do work together, and that Jim.
Oh, sorry, I thought you talked about the other warehouse guy, Jim. Yeah.
No, there's other warehouse guys. It could have fooled me. I have no idea. Jim, not the guy I'm having a beer with. That makes it a bad team. I'm out on this pick.
Well, you might
at least have the decency to pull up the Wikipedia article like I did for Team 7 and read off of it directly.
Say Sasuke's name. Oh, I just said his name. Now you're going to know how to say it.
Well, Griffin, my pushback to your pushback is I'm not the Roy in this universe. That guy was a dickhead. I won't stand for that.
Yeah, again, I don't remember anything about his character. He could have been the nicest guy. He could have been the worst guy. I just remember them on a boat at some point exchanging longing glances. And that's really kind of where I tapped out.
So you're blaming him, not her.
I'm blaming both of them. I would blame both of them. I'm not having a beer with Pam either.
Yeah, Pam? Well, I'm not having a beer with Pam either.
Yeah. I'm not having a beer with either one of them.
Kevin and Creed are the ones I want to have beer with.
Kevin's probably the number one.
Creed. That's next this night.
Creed would like steal your money.
Next draft night.
I'm gonna dodge that episode. I'm gonna produce that one.
You're not invited.
So good. I'm not a part of this team for that episode. All right, look, I think kind of dicey. It's a fifth pick. It's a fifth pick. You know, that you're allowed to have pushback on your fifth pick. At least you picked one that would have made it on this draft and not the Expendables.
It is Mr. Irrelevant here.
People are going to love it.
It's Brock Purdy.
Griffin, you want to give your...
I sure do. With the number 1 pick, I took the Fellowship. With the number 2 pick, I took the Springfield Nuclear Plant softball team. With the number 3 pick, I took the Justice League, most specifically Justice League Unlimited from the TV show. With my 4th pick, I took the Monstars. And with my last pick, I took the Homeward Bound pets of Shadow, Chance, and Sassy.
With my first pick, I took Patty's Pub Flip Cup team. Second pick was Washington Sentinels from the replacements. Third pick was the Sudbury Blueberry Bulldogs from Shoresy. Fourth pick, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers team from the movie. And fifth pick was the Philadelphia Hebrew Academy Lions.
All right, with my first pick, I took the Toon Squad from Space Jam. With my number 2 pick, I took AFC Richmond from Ted Lasso. On my number 3 pick, I took the Average Joes from Dodgeball, a true underdog story. With my number 4 pick, I took the Elite Four from the original Pokemon games. And with my number 5 pick, I took the Expendables.
With my first pick, I took Mystery Inc., Mystery Incorporated. With my second pick, I took Team Avatar. My third pick was Team Mario. My 4th pick was Team 7 or Team Kakashi. And my 5th pick was Dunder Mifflin Scranton.
Yeah. Good. Very, very different lists. Very different. I can't wait for the Justice League to take on a Philadelphia middle school Jewish basketball team. High school, maybe. At best, high school. At best, high school.
You think I wouldn't match them up against the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, if anyone on my side? Come on.
Do you think the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers are winning that conflict?
From the show, no. From the comics?
From the comics, very arguably, maybe. Comic feats get a lot better.
You know what we should do for part 2 of this episode is we should take our teams and then make a starting basketball team out of them. So one of these teams has to together play shooting guard.
Well, it's not going to be the Monstars because they don't have Michael Jordan, but I know one team that does have Michael Jordan. So you should probably take the team that literally has the best shooting guard of all time.
I'm just saying, let's just pocket this idea and maybe come back.
Yeah, it's a good idea. We're also not going to do honorable mentions because we want to be able to use a lot of these picks at a future date. And so this is definitely one that we'll do again. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure like, comment, subscribe. We have shorts every single day. Make sure you're liking those and commenting on those as well. If you're not following us on TikTok, go do that. If you're not following us on Instagram, go do that. We're very easy to find on those platforms. If you're listening to us on an audio platform, Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you click that follow button and you rate and review, ideally 5 stars. But if you don't think we deserve 5 stars, text us about it. Don't give us anything less than 5 stars. Yeah. If you have any suggestions, let us know in the comments. All right. You don't want to hear from anyone? Okay. Don't do those things. We don't want to hear from anyone. We'll see you guys next time.